your life is on the line and you know that you're on an oxygen tank and they're going to put you on your head, see what you do. Because the bottom line is that me, I'm one person. I can never miss.
The guy's not being loyal to you. How could you be loyal to him?
Yeah.
And whether you're your father or not. So, you know, but it's always been hard because it was my father.
The word came down, this guy had to go. You know, we didn't know nothing about him until the last minute. And I liked him. I liked Bill. He was a nice guy, but...
Welcome to the show.
The biggest hit of the war, Nicky Black, did ask. He threatened me through my Uncle Albie that if I don't come over to the other side, he's going to kill me. So, you know, the plan there was me and Jimmy were Greg's closest. The three of us together were inseparable. We know we'd never... If he could have broke us up and got me and Jimmy to come over, that would have left Greg with people, you know, less trustworthy.
Yeah. And
he knew that. It's part of all that scheming and treachery and outmaneuvering. So we were doing the same thing. We didn't even care about getting Wild Bill. We wanted to get his men because if we would get the men, it would break the foundation. He had a lot of good ballsy guys around him. You know, Billy's hiding out somewhere. Not that he wasn't a ballsy guy, but he's hiding out. He's a big shot. Vic Arena's hiding out. So you got to get their men. They were going to do the same thing. But Greg wasn't hiding out. So they would have got us all together. Sometimes we'd see some, you know, associates or underlings, whatever you want to call them. Sometimes we'd see somebody that was a bit of a target. But you know, earlier on, that's where he shot Funzy and his, Nicky's nephew, Joe T. But we hit a guy that was around the Shin's family by mistake, and he died. But he was in the door with them. And you know,
was the Chin mad that happened?
No, he had already told his men to stay away from Colombo clubs. And after it happened, give you an example of Carmine. When he heard we killed a guy around the Chin by mistake, he came to see it. When we went to meet him and told him and this was happening, he fainted. I had to stop him from falling. I had to catch him. Man. Greg told him, he says, Carmine, that guy was a big boy. He shouldn't have been there. And
was he a made man?
Yes, he was. And we got the same message back from the Chin, almost the same exact words. He should have known better. He was a big boy. He should not have been there.
Yeah,
he couldn't hold us at fault. We're shooting. You should have been. You know, if somebody was, they weren't hanging out with us. You know, it was a bad place to be. So anyway, to get back to Nicky, he happened to be near his club that day. I guess he was checking on a few of his businesses, and you know, and we got lucky. Or sometimes I say maybe it was divine intervention, even though it was a bad thing. The whole thing was bad. You know, somebody was on my side. It was kill or be killed. You know, he was coming for me, so we got him first.
So with all the things that you've done in your life, do you live with regret?
Of course I do. You know, I like to say this. I was never an angel before I got involved in the mob. I'm still not an angel. I'm never going to be an angel. I live a little bit to my own beat. I like living my way, but I do. Of course, I regret. You know, I think I could have been successful in lots of different things. I've been saying a lot lately that I didn't need that life to be successful or to get respect, because here I am. Nobody knows me in different places I go, and I really get the same respect when I go into a restaurant. Just maybe it's the way I carry myself, or maybe they do know. Maybe more people know me than I think. I don't know, and I'm a good tipper. I'm a good
probably.
So probably, you know. But my gym does well. We had a restaurant that did well. My wife and I. You know, I say this, and I don't want to say it like, you know, to make people not like me or anything. But I do these podcasts, and I keep selling out. I sell out books. Now, I'm not selling millions of books, but for a guy that doesn't have a publisher, just a printer, and I got to keep ordering books, you know. So obviously people are liking the book, you're liking the story, and, you know, so maybe like, and I'll tell you this, twice in the last couple of years, I was in New Jersey, just went to a restaurant. You could say the names of restaurants, right?
Yeah.
Houlihan. On Route 35. And I'm walking in. My wife just dropped me off because I was going to meet a buddy of mine. and she was going to go to the shoe store across the street.
Yeah.
Walking in, and the guy stops in his tracks. He says, "Larry," I'm looking at him. I say, "Do we know each other?" He says, "Didn't you write The Life?" I says, "Come on, did you know I was coming here?" He says, "No, I recognize you." I wound up taking him inside, bought him a drink, got him a book, signed it for him, and he killed me. Now he's my friend on Facebook and stuff. And then it happened one more time. I thought they were kidding around. And but again, I don't think everybody does. I go into places. But my point is, you are what you are. If you're a good man or you carry yourself, you don't need that life. And that's sort of, I see a lot of guys that are, some of them are very genuine about it, like Johnny A. Light. He really has taken a path where he wants to help younger kids, and there's nothing wrong with that. Mike Francesi, I hear is the same way. He's actually a minister. I'd be a hypocrite because, like I said, I still march a little bit to my own beat, and but what my message is, you don't need that life. Don't think you need that for respect and money, because you don't, and you'll probably do better on your own. You don't have to kick up half of what you earn. You don't have to look over your shoulder for some up and coming guy trying to take what you've earned and what you've made. That's sort of what happened during the war. We weren't going to give somebody else part of what we had.
No, because then they take all your businesses that are making money, they take over them, right?
Put you on to somebody else, and he, who knows how greedy he is. So yeah.
So are you at all worried about, the people that you murdered in the past, are you worried about any of the people's families coming after you?
Well, I'm not, and I say it, there's a few reasons I'm not. Most of them were involved in the war or in the life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy to kill. Most guys I know, even Greg Jr. would tell you that, as you go along in that life, it almost becomes second nature, but it's not easy to get to that point. I was never proud of it. Again, during the war, there was some that, it was him or me, but I definitely, regret it. There's remorse, but it's a fine line. It's a fine line. I don't want, again, because if you answer the wrong way, the obvious question is, well, you're in the life, making all the money, you did it, you didn't care, and now I care. Well, when you're younger and naive, it's a little easier to get swayed into that.
Yeah.
I couldn't be swayed into it at this age with all my experience now, what I've went through, So, no, there's definitely remorse. There's or do I? But you said, do I worry about them? I don't worry about the mob guys because it was a life.
Yeah.
As far as my deal with the government, a lot of guys walked out because of the corruption that I brought to the table. If I didn't bring that to the table, there's a lot of guys that was coming in.
What's some of the corruption that you exposed when you did the deal?
Mm-hmm.
What is some of it that you?
Well, I did. They came to me after I was trying to negotiate for a while, and we really had nothing to. I had nothing to offer them except to hopefully bring Jimmy in with me, and he was on board with me for whatever deal I would have made. But once it got exposed that Greg was bad, and they found out it was an agent, they knew I was his right-hand man. So I guess they spoke to my attorney and wanted to know what I knew about that. It's all I had to offer. And what I had was, I had phone records. I had the scanner information. I had meeting places that I took him to. There was a lot,
The riot shotgun.
Right, shotgun, where we could get, he told me we could get FBI credentials if we needed them to dummy up an arrest to get one of our enemies. Plus a lot more. There was a lot, and they sent the top of the Justice Department. It wasn't regular FBI agents to see me. It was heavyweights out of White House, that type of stuff. And so going back to the original thing, a lot of those guys got to have that in mind, that I didn't. And the other ones, like you take the one that little Linda with that situation, I don't know that the guy deserved to die, but you shouldn't be, if you're 30 something year old, 35, 38-year-old guy, bring a 16-year-old girl to the park, impossible. So
Yeah, no.
he's no innocent victim either. The family should just mind their business, you know.
Yeah.
Now, if I had killed somebody for money or for something like that, yeah, I'd definitely be looking over my shoulder. Or just because I wanted his business, whack this guy so I could take his business. But none of it, never did any of that. It was all within the rules of the life and the war. So, you know, but going back to the corruption now, we sort of tied those two together. It turned out that it was an alleged agent. I don't want to mention his name. I mean, everybody knows it. I don't need to slander him because on a technicality, he beat it. The New York Supreme Court judge made it clear that he didn't think he was innocent and thought that him and the prosecutors and the government totally mishandled their informant and gave him, you know, that carte blanche. I mean, the guy took the stand. Now, if you're a bad agent and you take the stand on behalf of a case, you're lying, and everybody knows you're lying. So it's just a thing. You know, it turned out bad, and most of them are all separated now. The agents are all different places. The prosecutors are gone. So
when you were in the streets, Sammy the Bull was in the streets at that time, right?
Yeah.
So did you have any run-ins with him or any dealings with him?
Yeah, we didn't have run-ins in a bad way. We were friends. You know, we played racquetball at the same club. We did some light boxing at the same club. And I say light because he didn't like to lose. Now, I'm not saying I would have beat him, but I don't want to take that chance. So we sort of just, you know, sparred lightly, and he enjoyed that. I used to go in a couple of his places, and I did business with more than probably a half a dozen, you know, bookmakers that were under him. So occasionally I'd meet at his club, you know, to take care of business with these guys. So yeah, and we you know, we got along. He was way above my head as far as life is concerned, but he used to be a Colombo guy. He was a Colombo guy at one point.
After everything's said and done, how did you feel when you heard that Sammy the Bull ratted on John Gotti and all these other people?
That was like an atomic bomb went off. Okay, the streets, the shock, it was almost like, nah.
Unbelievable, almost.
It's a Twilight Zone. Yeah, you would never think that, but it just goes. It shows you the, you know, the survival, the treachery, whatever it is. You know, John did a lot of bad things too, but he never ratted. You know, and you know, if you want to give him a medal for that, he deserves it. But you can't give him a medal for his flamboyancy when all the other bosses told him stop. Being on the Time magazine and wearing $5,000. You know, all of those things are no good. He did some other things, not to slander him, that were against the rules. And, you know, and Sammy told me not too long ago, he says, you know, John did more damage than 10 Sammy the Bulls.